chapter 16, Batwatch. So we ended at chapter 15 with Flicker is at the windowsill, looking out of the window, and Chipstick seems to think actually he's wondering if there's more dragons. Is there more of his breed out there? Chipstick feels actually it's his responsibility to find out as well. He found all those empty dragon fruit shells. Potentially there could be, 5, 6 more dragons? And he doesn't want Flicker to feel lonely, so he's going to make it his mission to find out more. So our next chapter is called Batwatch. Is it really going to be a Batwatch? What do you think he's really going to be looking for? I had a plan. I was going to tell Grandad I was doing a project on bats at school and I wanted to come over and do a Batwatch in his garden. Grandad would have done his jobs for the day and hopefully he'd be ready to put his feet up and rest. So I'd be able to have a good look at the tree and have a proper hunt for any more dragons. And as for Grim, I just had hoped he'd be taking it easy too. Can you remember who Grim is? Yeah, he's the gentleman next door who's a little bit miserable. The next evening, I arrived at Nana and Grandad's house fully prepared. In true undercover style, I bought my night vision goggles, my binoculars, my clipboard, and a book on bats. I was almost beginning to believe in the bat project myself. And actually, it's not many illustrations in this book. There's a really nice illustration of our character, Chipstick, Thomas. Look, he's got his night vision goggles, he's got his clipboard, he's got his goggles, all dressed up ready for his project. And like he said, he's starting to believe it even himself, even though it's really just pretend, all a big facade. Of course, it nearly backfired on me though, when Grandad started reading off facts about the habits of our native bats, and got so into the idea he decided to come and join me. Oh no! Actually, I'm supposed to do the project without any help, Grandad. Don't worry, I won't do the work for you, Chipstick. I'll just watch. Scout's honour. I shifted uncomfortably. Any other time, I'd love to be out in the garden with Grandad. We would be worm watching and we'd have a great time. But I couldn't miss this chance, not to look for some more dragons. So I pulled out the only thing I knew that would stop him in his tracks. I think you'd better take it easy, actually, Grandad. You've done loads today. And then I added, think about your heart. It was such a low blow. I winced even saying the words. For a second, he looked really disappointed at me. Then in true Grandad form, he gave me a smile and said, right you are. Off you go then, off you pop, so I can get back to Gardener's World, which of course made me feel 10 times worse. I hunted everywhere for the dragons, peering into the underneath of the hedges, braving the nettles and battling the brambles. I'd seen Flicker dart out of sight enough times to know dragons instinctively hid from humans. Still, I'd hoped with him flitting around in plain sight of me, any dragons would feel reassured enough to show themselves. But despite that, and despite my efforts at hunting through the undergrowth, there was no sign of any dragons. Flicker settled on my shoulder and sneezed a glittering spray of sparks. This is hopeless, I moaned, nursing a scratch. There's nothing here. Am I wrong about this, Flicker? Are you the only dragon? He flew up and ducked behind me. Eagerly I spun round, hoping he was trying to show me something. He was. It was my smouldering bum. One of his sparks had landed on the seat of my trousers and was smoking. I battered at my backside. What does he mean, battered? So yeah, like he's hitting his backside, trying to bat the flames out. I sighed. Maybe I was looking in the wrong place. After all, it was Grim's garden that had been messed up. I turned and looked at Grim's vegetable patch and at the little lean-to greenhouse that was attached to his shed, full of tempting greenery. Because the tempting greenery could tempt the dragons. A new polytunnel was lying in pieces, the plastic shredded and the seedlings it had been covered scattered far and wide. Surely this was proof there had been more of them. unless Grim was right and it was just vandals. I needed to have a closer look. I whispered to Flicker. I wasn't sure why I kept telling him stuff when he was only interested in demolishing Grandad's lettuces, but I had to talk to somebody. Before I could change my mind, I stepped over the little wire fence that separated the two gardens. For a second, I had a feeling that I was being watched. I stood frozen, listened to the breeze rustling the leaves on the hedge that bordered the fields. In my mind, I could picture all sorts of things lurking behind there. But now really wasn't the time to let my imagination run wild. I reined it in, and I reminded myself that the scariest thing around there was probably Grim himself. I looked around, scanning the garden and up to the dark house where he lived. There was no sign of Grim. Not even the lights were on. If I was lucky, maybe he had gone out for the evening. Flitter fluttered over to join me. He settled another plant with his huge leaves and started nibbling at it. I made my way further into the garden, hoping my luck would hold. It didn't. Dun dun dun! What do you think has happened? So he's gone to Grim's garden, but we know something's gone wrong. Have a little think. What do you think? Make a prediction on what you think chapter 17 will be about. And I'll give you a clue because the title of the chapter is Oi, Stinker! With an exclamation mark. Do you think someone's saying that? Who could it be? Who would call our lovely character Chipstick, who's Thomas, a stinker? Would it be Mr. Grim? Could it be Liam? Could it be Grandad, realising that Chipstick has lied to him and he's feeling really disappointed? We'll find out next time.